Me on a scooter at the ABR Festival 2025. Who'd have thought it? Well, this is actually. That's Exeter Rider. Hi, Exeter Rider. This is actually a Zontes. Not just any Zontes, it's a Zontes 368. So, Exeter Rider Steve, the dapper chap there with the black helmet and the pink high vis, we got to ride a couple of Zontes. He's on an ADV, but I'm on a scooter. Now, this one is a bit like the Honda 350 ADV, only it's a 368 as they call it, and I believe this is the only one in the country, so I was quite privileged to be able to ride it. Let's go and see what happened. Well, first of all, you have to leave the showground itself, and I should say the festival ground itself. So once we cleared all our thronging fans, or basically people who didn't know who on earth we were, but just had us in the way, you leave the grounds, and we went and turn left. Now, by this time, I'd already had quite a difference of opinion with this bike. Two completely different things. Number one, the mirrors. They're really good mirrors, you know, except for the fact I couldn't see anything out them. They just wouldn't angle down low enough. Because, you know, me being, small and what have you, they didn't seem to work. Had I been about 3 or 4 inches taller in the trunk, then I think they'd have been absolutely fine. Crystal clear all the time. They were marvellous quality mirrors. I just couldn't seem to adjust them for me. But that could be me being an incompetent old fool. So, as you can see, we went out on a road ride. And damn fine fun it was too. I'm going to say this. You can see oh dear. I'm already possibly going a bit quick. It wasn't me, I'm honest. It's someone else riding. It's just me having the camera in view. So the bike rode along quite nicely. It's so different from the Vespa. Absolutely, you can't compare the two. Honestly, well, you can, and I'm going to. Leaving the showground, I'd felt, this is a bit ponderous compared to my Vespa, but it feels quite okay. Now, by now, I've only been out on the road a few minutes, and at the higher speeds, it's a completely different animal. You've got slightly larger wheels. They look like they're about 14-inch wheels, maybe 15, but they're certainly bigger anyway than the Vespa. And it rides more like an automatic bike round these corners, and I found myself, as you can see, having absolutely no problems keeping up. I could have gone a lot faster, actually. I'm going to be honest. The bike itself's got cracking performance. Whether 368 equates to the actual CC of the bike, I don't know. As I say, this is the first one in the country supposedly, so it's a bit difficult to tell. That was a Zontes dealer, by the way, on that sports bike. It's on a Zontes model. Went really well, actually. So anyway, how is this set up? Just behind my quick shameless plug, there's the black Vespa GTS, of which I am mentioning. Cheers, guys. Back to the story. Right, so first of all, like I say, it's less agile in an urban-y type environment, although it's fine, don't get me wrong, it's just less agile than the Vespa. When it comes to these sweepies, it's just a completely different kettle of fish. It's much more at home on fast sweeping roads, feels much more planted, and as you can see, I had absolutely no issues with my riding, with riding it. However, a couple of points where it does differ quite a lot. I've already said the Vespa is more of an urban transport solution. I keep mentioning that in all my videos. It's got quite a short wheelbase, it's quite compact, but the seat is relatively flat, so you can move backwards and forwards as you will, which then releases a whole gamut of riding positions that you might not realise. With the Zontes, being more like the ADV, it's got very much a step seat, so I couldn't go back any further. Now, I've only got 29-inch legs on a good day, and I did find I was a bit cramped. Even when I went to the feet forward position, I was still not feeling like I could really stretch out and make the most of the bigger bike room wise. Having said that, that step seat makes a fantastic boot. I mean, I'd say it's about 3 times the size of a Vespa GTS boot. Easily, you know, it really is good. How's the screen? The screen, as you can see, we're trolling along a road pace. Slow A road pace a lot of the time, I would say. And I have to say, the screen was excellent. I've got the peak on my helmet because I was riding off-road quite a lot, and it just helps. With the Vespa, with its screen, that peak is so damn noisy, and every time you did a shoulder check like I've just done, really bad pushing and tugging, and it's quite uncomfortable. On this, nothing of the sort. Absolutely superb. By this time, okay, the comparison with last year and the BSA Gold Star, which I just didn't gel with at all, and by this time in the ride I'd already wanted to throw it in a ditch and set fire to it. I didn't say that in the video because I thought I was being a bit cruel. By this time I was, oh, this is really good fun, and I was loving it. If I'm going to be honest with you, I was like, oh, this is really good. I mean, I wouldn't swap the Vespa for it because I'm an old tart and I like the fashion and I like the styling and the heritage and all that malarkey. But this thing, for 90% of people with good taste, I'd say it's an excellent option. Before I start shouting, note the excellent indicator noise. They've gone left at the next junction.
Brilliant, thank you, mate.
Now, normally, you know me, that would have been to stitch him up because, you know, why not? Steve's a friend and he knows that's the kind of thing I probably would do. But actually, I was being serious. I didn't know whether he'd get a chance to see where they were. But the guys that took us out, it was a gentleman and a lady, were both IAM qualified, and they're also what I call Cardington assessors. So they've passed all the proper bike school training qualifications, and so they knew what they were doing and they knew to stop, and so they kept us all together. I was at the back of the queue because I was on the slowest bike, and this is something that was quite humorous. We weren't going fast, as you can see. We're not exactly tearing up the tarmac, but we were able to make comfortable progress and without any worries. And I felt so confident in this machine. Okay, it's dry, I know, but there's a lot of dust around, but the bike felt so planted. If I wanted to turn in, it just turned in. Okay, it's not a sports bike, I accept that, and you've got the CVT, which doesn't give you the most snappy, hard, aggressive throttle when it comes to acceleration, but by crikey, I was loving it. This bike, it felt solid, it felt like a proper piece of kit. Now, I always have concerns about bikes from emerging manufacturers, let's call it this. And I had chatted to, after we had a ride, to the dealer, or to a dealer who was manning the stand, and we were discussing some makes and how some of the Far East manufacturers are here today, gone tomorrow. They'll sell shed loads, but they've got no commitment to the heritage of the brand. They're just there to make a fast buck, make a killing, and then they go on to something that suits their interest. One manufacturer changed from making bikes to wine, would you believe? I mean, there's a great link there, isn't there? You know, don't drink and drive and all that. Anyway, yeah, well. So, yeah, that's a big concern for me, and it still is. But what I have to say is that this bike was, it felt plush. It felt, if you hadn't have told me, I would have said this could be a new Honda. genuinely, it felt that robust, it felt that reliable, and I was so impressed. And I can't stress that enough. It felt balanced. The front to rear suspension felt balanced. There's a plushness, not quite as good, as I say, as Honda tend to have on that first part of the uptake of a bounce, but it was damn close. I mean, it was certainly far better than you'll ever get on my Vespa. Whether it's as good as an MP3 or better than MP3, I don't know, because I've never tried a bigger wheel Piaggio product. Something I ought to do, really, isn't it? You know, just to try. But as you can see, we've opened it up, and it's just flying along. You can see that I do use quite a lot of throttle opening, but that's something I tend to do with the twist and go anyway. Just open it up because I know it's slightly slower to react. But it wasn't a problem. It wasn't disconcerting. And would I take it on a motorway? Oh yeah, of course I would. It's got bags of ability, and on these sweeping roads, it was lovely. I'm just keeping a distance from Steve because I'm keeping a distance from him. It's the way I tend to ride. I don't like to ride close to anyone in front. I like to always have plenty of room. It means it's a lot less stressful for me to ride. But by crikey, I really couldn't praise this enough. It's got loads of gadgets on it. That's the only thing I don't like. I don't like all the gadgets. But as you can see, it's crystal clear on the old dash, LCD dash. Personally, I prefer an analog dash because it involves less brain power, and I'm a bit thick. It's an argument I was having with someone. They said, "Oh, you know exactly what speed you're doing," and I had to point out to them, "Well, you don't need to know whether you're doing 59 or 61, and that takes a little bit of extra brain power to process. Whereas a needle in roughly the right position is one step less of brain power, so you can focus more on what you're doing." So I don't particularly like digital dashes. I prefer analog because it actually does the job better. Just out of interest, you can see plenty of warning signs up here, warning about bikes, because at various points the Bridgestone Trail, which is the off-road course, crosses main roads, and there are some bikes on the outside, on the offside, trying to cross. So yeah, it was cool. Sadly, people seem to forget, however, that although we're at the ABR, that we are on public roads and we have to obey the law. And it doesn't necessarily create that good an impression. Yeah, there you go. Approaching bend with a junction up ahead, and someone decides that the solid white lines weren't there to matter for him, etc, etc, etc. I shall leave you all to your own views on that, but yeah, it doesn't create an overwhelmingly wonderful impression for other road users, does it? But never mind, that's not really for us to judge. It's just to show you some of the riding that we did witness, which sort of soils the event for me, but there you go. Anyway, less of that. Let's get back on this bike. So in no time at all, the ride was over. We've been out for about half an hour, as per most of these test rides, and we're now on to the route back into the hall. Right, now this is where I was thinking, well, this is going to be interesting, and I thought I might have a bit of a problem, but no, absolutely fine, no issues whatsoever. Potted along, dum. The bike itself was totally and utterly, I want to say, comforting and reassuring. I didn't feel like it was going to be a ponderous lump. I didn't feel like it was skittish. I didn't feel like it was struggling. So, whereas at the beginning I thought, oh, it's a bit different to the old Vespa, and it is, it's not badly so. It is just different. It's got a wider range of abilities, is how I described it. and for that, with the apparent build quality as well, I'm going to say this now, I went to ride a completely different bike. I wasn't going to ride this, but I was just like intrigued, and having had riding experience on the Vespa, I really wanted to see what this was like, and I'm chuffed I did. And thank you very much for letting me ride the first one in the UK, the only one in the UK, and trusting me on it. It's a superb bike, chaps. Zontes 386. It's a fantastic piece of kit, well worth riding. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. They haven't paid me to say it. It's just my own personal view. Obviously, I'm stuck with the back view of Exeter Rider the whole time, and he does hold you up. I mean, doddery old fools these lot are. But hey ho, mustn't complain. Thanks to Zontes. Really, thank you. You did pull it out of the bag arranging that for me. And credit where it's due, it's a superb piece of kit. All that remains is to give a big shout out to the marshals, especially our local hero, Mamadou, on the right hand side. I hope that's how I pronounced it correctly. Always there, always willing to give everyone a wave, and a superb guy. Obviously you couldn't do a throttle rev bomb, because if you do that on a CVT it doesn't quite work, and I didn't want to be an idiot, so there you go. But wonderful trip, thoroughly enjoyed it. Would I recommend it? I'd certainly recommend you give it a try. This is a cracking piece of kit, and way better than I expected. Now let you into a little secret. My last experience on a Far Eastern scooter that wasn't Japanese was a 28 mile an hour unrestricted scooter that felt like it had a chassis made out of coat hangers. It was a scary experience at 28 mile an hour, and I couldn't get any faster out of it. But it was someone's pride and joy, and they had fun with it once they'd passed their CBT. Anyhow, thanks again to Zontes for putting up with Exeter Rider Steve and me, and here's to success for the model. Thanks very much again. Don't forget, guys, like, subscribe, all that malarkey, will you? Cheers, bye, see you in the next one.
It's a bump and handle, bro.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that.
Oh, shit. Why don't you just start recording then?
No.
Oh, I might fuck that up then.